Welcome once again to this special edition of the League of the Genuine Conversations with Fred Muwema. I happen to be a host today as well. Rachel is indisposed, but she'll be with us next weekend. Today, of course, as a host and guest, basically I am gonna set the questions, write the exam, and mark it as well. I don't know if my producers will allow me to do that, because this is a show that promotes consumption of genuine products and delivery of genuine services. So I guess I should be having a company here in the studio. I actually have a guest, a special guest who will be joining us. But as a recap from last week, those who've been following us, last week we did a summation, a sum up on petroleum products. We finished with LPG gas. We promised you that we shall have a brand new discussion this week. Our discussion will be from farm to fork, basically food. We're in a festive season, and I know that the major activity, apart from celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, will be eating. So in the studio we have a special guest, Mr. Kenneth Katungusa. The name disturbs me, but you can tell us the proper names.
Thank you, Council. My name's Kenneth Katungisa.
Kenneth Katungisa. Can I call you
Yes.
KK?
Yeah, sure.
There are many popular KKs.
Perfectly
Kenneth
fine.
Kaunda,
Everyone calls me KK and
Kale Kaigura,
Yeah.
something like that. So we have Kenneth here. Is the CEO of the Uganda National Farmers Federation. So can you tell the viewers, a federation means you federate with other associations. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. The federation in this case is an apex body of farmers organization in the country. And it's a federation because we have farmer associations, we have commodity specific associations, we have district level, national level, companies like input dealers and what have you. So that's what makes it a federation. We have over 120 of those and about 3 million individual farmers.
3 million farmers.
Yeah.
So you have from all sectors.
We have from all sectors and we have from all districts in Uganda. We have structures that can get to any farmer in any corner of Uganda. And that's why I said we have some commodity specific organizations, but we also have homogeneous groups that you find a district farm association that has livestock farmers, maize farmers, bean farmers, and all the things.
Okay, so Kenneth, you've been a CEO for the federation for how long?
For 6 years now.
6 years.
Yeah. Deputy CEO for 4 and CEO for 2.
CEO for 2.
Yeah.
So what is the, before we go into the subject now, what is the main objective of the federation? What are you setting out to do?
The federation, right from inception, was formed as to be a voice of the farmers, to influence policy, but also to help deliver the right services to the farmers. But our core mandate is policy influence, where, and to do that, we sit on almost every government committee, whether technical, to ensure that whatever policy is passed is pro-farmers. And if we find an issue with any specific policy, we have a process of interacting with our members, getting their views on what they think should be right, and then taking it up with the powers that be, through the different parliamentary committees.
Up to the grassroots.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenneth, yesterday you participated in launching a partnership with the League of the Genuine, the Anti-Counterfeiting Network, and QD such and such. Can you tell the viewers why it was important for the federation at this particular time to come and be part of this?
Well, it was very important because one of the greatest challenges of the sector, especially for the smallholder farmer, is access to genuine inputs, and inputs abroad. So it was important because the League of the Genuine, especially ACN, has been at this for a long time, fighting counterfeit. And the federation members are having issues with the counterfeit. So it's the partnership is a win-win for us. So we are joining hands with people that are technically competent in this fight, and we also have the members that can generate the data, the research, the information that is needed to help the fight against counterfeit. So for us, it's critical because as we move to an era of, we're already in the era of climate change. Already we have so many challenges with pests and diseases. The last thing you want is for those to be riding on top of inputs that are not good enough from the beginning. So this is why we joined this partnership.
But Kenneth, for us here at the Anti-Counterfeit Network, we have observed a worrying trend. The uptake and increase of fake agricultural inputs, right from seedlings to the inorganic fertilizers and so on, has gone up to the extent that currently on the market, I think for herbicides, up to 50% is fake. So do you take some blame as a federation? Are you doing enough to push your farmers into the proper channels for getting product, or what are you doing in that area?
I don't know whether I should say we take the blame, but I think everyone in the sector should take some part of the blame because this is a joint, it should be a joint effort. The fact that there are fakes on the market is a problem for everyone. And it means someone or all of us are not doing some certain things that should add up to stop counterfeit. So I think for our part, all we can do is always informing our members where to get genuine products, where to get genuine seed, where to get genuine hose, where to get genuine inputs. What the capacity that we don't have is the capacity to ensure that whatever is sold is genuine. We don't have that capacity and that mandate actually. So
you don't have capacity and mandate to ensure that what is on the market is genuine. But I heard you saying that you have in your membership some of the manufacturers or distributors of the inputs. So the question would be, don't you talk to them, or don't you in a way get these distributors or manufacturers to put genuine out there?
Oh yeah, we have some of our members are, there are I think about 4 companies, input suppliers companies. But you see, those are just a drop in the ocean, and these are not everywhere. These are localized. I think they actually, almost all of them are in central Uganda. So the thing is, the input, the faking of inputs is a monstrous thing. It's huge, and it needs combined effort. Partly it's the reason why we entered into this partnership, the key. But most importantly, the legal framework, the policy framework of controlling counterfeit is not something we can influence, but it's not something we can ultimately do as an institution, not even ACN. This is a government matter. All we can do is to ensure,
to contribute.
And we contribute to make sure that whatever policy is passed, it helps to that. And I hope soon we can dive into reviewing these different policies to see where the gaps are and make proposals to government. That's what we can do. And also ensure that whatever is finalized is communicated to the farmers properly. Like I said yesterday when we were launching the partnership, the critical thing here is that the farmer, the end user, understands the dangers of these fakes, understands the role they have to play to control these fakes. And they know that they are actually the only people that can stop these fakes completely. We can do laws, we can help in making sure that laws are good, but ultimately the end user has to understand their role and execute it.
I like the word you said, the only people. In other words, you are passing the baton to the end user, the consumer.
Yeah.
This program airs on Facebook and all the other platforms. You have 3-4 million Ugandans on Facebook. If there's an opportunity to watch you and you know the trends and behavior on these social media platforms. Many people are following Katumba Oye and all these things. Why should they listen to you? Why is it important they should follow you on this?
Yeah, because it's not. This is not a problem of Kenneth or Fred, for that matter. Fakes affect all of us, and they don't just affect all of us. They affect all of us every day. If I stick to food, every time you eat that salad, okay?
It's very popular nowadays.
Exactly. Most people.
What is wrong with
most people run to salads because, and they are healthy.
We are trying to diet.
Yeah, you're trying to diet and stuff and what have you. The question you should ask yourself: the chemicals that were used to spray on this tomato, or this onion, or this green pepper, where are they genuine chemicals? A genuine chemical has a lifespan. It's meant in a way that once it is sprayed on a specific thing, if you take a tomato for example, it will break down after a specific time. A fake one, no one can tell. It can last on top of that tomato for long, even if you're washing, because some of them can seep through. So that's I'm trying to illustrate how dangerous these things are every day. So the reason why you should fight fakes, why everyone should fight fakes. So for the listener,
yes. Sorry to cut you short. For the listener out there who may think this is just another topic, can you break it down for them? Give some examples of counterfeits in the food sector. Like what are those things people need to pay attention to? You have mentioned the salads, very popular, there are pesticides on them or whatever. What are the other things to look out for in food?
In food,
yes.
Food has
in respect of counterfeits.
The entire value chain,
yes.
Starting from the seed to the fork, starting from
from the farm
to the fork,
to the plate,
to the seed you put in the soil, which is in the farm, to the plate. Every stage has its own issues, but let me try to break it down step by step. You buy seed.
So if you buy a fake seed,
you
what
plant
is the
it.
problem?
What is the problem? Thank you very much. Farming is business. Okay? Ideally, you're supposed to get, for example, on average, 1,000 to 1,500. In Uganda, on average, it's 1,000 to 1,500 kilograms, or 1 ton to 1.5 tons per acre. That is
from, let's say, maize.
Yeah, for maize. We're talking about maize. That is with minimal good agricultural practices, because otherwise there are countries which do 5 tons from 1 acre. But let's stick to Uganda. If the seed is fake, like I said, it's a business. So you go and buy seed, you plant it. Instead of getting 1.5 tons, you get 800 kilograms. That's loss number 1. If you're lucky. 2, if you're unlucky and you have an infestation of a specific pest,
you get half.
You get half of that, because most of these genuine seeds, especially the hybrid seeds, have been developed, some of them, to be tolerant to specific pests and diseases. But if it's a fake, obviously it will not be tolerant. So the loss will not just be for the fact that they will not germinate. It will be for the fact that even if they germinate, they will still be destroyed by the different pests. And that's a loss at that level. There are chemicals that are sprayed.
But now for the consumer, how, for them, they might say, okay, that's a loss to the farmer, but for me, I'll go to the market and I'll find food somehow.
But you see, Fred, a loss to the farmer means less production. Less production means high cost of purchase of that product.
Food
simple
price.
Simple economics.
Yeah.
Limited supply means higher prices. So the food prices will definitely go high. But let me go to the next stage that now concerns the consumer. Obviously, there is weeding. Some people, because of problems of labor, decide to use weed masters and what the weed masters of this Roundup. And you know that Roundup is one of the most faked herbicide on the market. And this is where the danger to someone's health starts. So if you're a viewer out there and you're a consumer of these products, you need to know that fakes don't affect the farmer, because the farmer does not just buy seed and put it in the soil and then get it out and put it on the plate. No, it means that as soon as a crop is put in the soil, there is 99% of the time certain herbicides will be applied to make sure that the crop grows high. Certain herbicides will be applied to ensure that the weeds do not affect the crop growth. And all those herbicides, fake herbicides, some of them with carcinogens, can end up in that crop that you're going to eat, and that will affect your health.
In the final product.
In the final product.
The maize,
Absolutely.
when you mill it and cook it, don't those residues?
No,
of
there are some residues, exactly. A genuine residue,
don't they go out when
a genuine
you cook?
product is made so that residues are broken down when you cook or wash. But fakes, some of them cannot be broken down. So ultimately, they stay in our food, and we end up eating these chemicals. And no wonder, I do believe, by the way, I do believe that it's one of the biggest effects of consuming these fakes. One of them is the increased numbers of these cancer cases in this country, because some of these fake chemicals, like I said, have these cancer-causing elements.
Active carcinogens.
Yes, active carcinogens that cannot be broken down, even if you cook it or wash it. That's why I was telling you that if you eat a salad with a tomato that has been sprayed with a chemical that cannot be broken down by simply washing, that in itself puts you in danger. If you eat it consistently, like you said, most people are now going to try to eat healthy. So you eat salads every day. Kumbe, the salad is where you're buying them. You're taking in chemicals that are not good for your health. And that's just for crops. Now, if I go to animals, that's a different matter altogether. Animals, actually, the risk is much higher. Why? Because for
animals are sprayed with what?
Are sprayed with acaricides. To kill the ticks. Now, the problem with acaricides is that the moment acaricides were affected, okay, it developed tick resistance. So what farmers resorted to, and I come from that area, so I'm speaking this from personal experience. What farmers resorted to was now to, one, get millibutras and mix it with duodip. I'm talking about the different types.
Those are acaricides.
Those are acaricides. Or get millibutras and mix it with spona spray. No one, there is no scientific evidence, none of those chemicals was made so that it should be mixed with the other before spraying.
So you don't know whether when you mix, you get a poison, maybe?
No, but it's desperation. But we have actually learned from experience, Fred, that it's poison. Let me tell you some of the effects that we have seen on animals, for example. Animals go blind. There was a time when animals just went blind. Today, the animal wakes up very well, it is eating very well. Tomorrow, it starts to knock things. And that's how you know that's not, because sometimes an animal, the eyes you cannot tell.
When the vision
or just
is
a white
impaired,
thing covers the eye. So animals started getting blind. Why? Because farmers were mixing chemicals that they did not know the effect on. The second issue is that because the ticks have developed resistance, you're now forced to spray your animals more than once a week, for example. Some people resorted to every 3 days.
So like an overdose of the...
Exactly. Animals also can have an overdose problem. And the problem, though, is that the problem is not necessarily theirs. It's only theirs if they go blind or they die from the overdose. The only effect that I know that is quite a lot is blindness. But do you know who is affected by that overdose? It's the people that take the milk.
So you made the acaricides go into the...
Absolutely, the milk. Because you're spraying them more than you should. So ultimately, these acaricides end up in the milk and in the meat. And the quantities are high. And because the tick resistance is also high, it means that you have to inject them quite frequently with different antibiotics and what have you to try and stop
the ticks.
The death.
Do the ticks kill the cows actually?
The ticks, the common killer of the common tick-borne disease that kills animals is East Coast fever. The cow will develop extremely high temperature, lose appetite, and die. And in some incidences, these ticks, if they stick to a sensitive part, that's what causes blindness to the animals. So the East Coast fever has led to probably 30%
of the mortality.
Is responsible, for 30% of the mortality rate of the animals. But in Western Uganda, where I come from, it's actually higher than that. 30% is the national average. It's worse with the crossbreeds. Because all of us went to crossbreeds because we wanted more money. Because crossbreeds produce more milk.
Productivity, yeah.
Exactly. But these crossbreeds, 95% of them are affected by East Coast fever. So the question is, if you as a farmer, you as a consumer, do not pay attention to these things, they will find you where you are. You are not, the farmer is not the only person affected.
But Kenneth, somebody might ask, you are the CEO of the federation, you are a big boss up there, like the president. What we are here as if we are lamenting about farmers purchasing behavior. Why is it that the farmers look out for those things? Why is that behavior? What's informing that behavior? Some farmers, we have seen traders, for example, who will put formalin in the meat. Where have we lost it? Because we have a federation on the one hand, and then we have these bad practices, putting formalin in the milk, adding water, formalin in the meat, adding water in the milk. What happened?
I think it's partly not fair, for lack of a better word, to throw this. This is not just about the Farmers Federation. This is about the Farmers Federation, about ACN, about MAIF, about government. This is about everyone. It clearly points to a system failure.
Systemic failure.
It's a systemic failure, okay, of making sure that how do these fakes get into the market in the first place? We have an entire department that is supposed to inspect the imports, and that is supposed to inspect the distribution, that is supposed to go down to these input suppliers and vet drug shops and make sure that whatever is supplied is genuine. So the failure starts with that. The fact that someone can get this fake, sell it,
means there is a problem.
Makes money and gets away with it. That is the part that really frustrates me. Gets away with it over and over and over again. And it almost becomes the normal thing. So the problem here, I think, in my view, is a systemic failure. And it is something that everyone that loves their health
and their country, for that matter. Because we failed to, exactly. I read a report that the EU banned our beef. Then sometime I read a report that Kenya rejected our maize.
Yeah.
I think even it had aflatoxins.
Even our milk.
Even our milk was rejected. So basically, people need to understand that not only are we damaging our reputation as a food basket for the region,
yes,
but we're also damaging our economy because we cannot earn from production of food, despite having the good weather.
Yeah, I think EU had spent like 2 years trying to make sure that because they had banned the imports of Ugandan vegetables and fruits and what have you because of these things. The green peppers, the red peppers, at some stage, they had been banned. They were later circulating on social media where they had written to MAIF, warning them year after year. Eventually they banned them, but they came back here, worked with the ministry, improved the checking at the airport. Even that was a problem. So things were seeping through the airport that were not good quality, and they would reach there, and then they would be rejected at the cost of the farmer and the country, of course. People need to understand that fakes they are killing the entire country, financially, health-wise, because today we're talking about agriculture, but almost everything in this country seems to be fake, including the brakes you put on your car, including the Vaseline that you use, including the soap that you use to shower. You imagine you're eating fake, bathing fake, driving fake,
inhaling fake.
Everything around us.
Yesterday at the launch, Kenneth, you promised, and I'd like our viewers to know, you promised that the Federation will be working with the League of the Genuine to ensure that measures are taken to stamp out this vice. Maybe could you just share some of the plans you have to get rid of these problems? For example, I'll just give you one area. As people who have been fighting fakes for long, one of the biggest problems we have seen with the agricultural chemicals is rampant bottle reuse, leveraging on the genuine bottle to get the copying of the labels and so on. Do you have any ideas or plans in some of those areas?
I think this, like I said at the beginning, this is a new partnership. As a federation, our main reason for joining this partnership, one of the key things that we think is going to be critical. For example, why do people use bottles? If you buy a bottle of Roundup that is genuine and you use it and you throw it on the street, it's no longer yours. It's now for the public to use.
The counterfeiter picks it, washes
Exactly.
it, and puts.
But if we, all of us, promoted proper use of these used bottles, empty bottles, that reduces the chance for a counterfeit to have a bottle to use. It makes it more difficult for the counterfeiter to use. You know? So our biggest thing is going to be how, as a federation and the League of the Genuine, how do we ensure that everyone in this country understands their role in fighting this? Because that's different. It's what the role of Fred plus the role of Kenneth plus the role of Angela adds up to making it much more difficult. It's a collective effort. This is not it's not a UNFFE problem or a ACN problem. It's all of our problems. Let me first tell you, one of the key challenges that we faced as a federation in fighting some of these counterfeits is one, obviously, how to package this information, but most importantly, how to follow up on these counterfeits, how to build a system. The challenge is because you cannot do it alone. And that's why I'm excited about this partnership, because I think we have no choice, Fred, but to work
stop this
as a partnership to stop this. Everyone has a role to play. Of course, the other big challenge is the financial muscle. This is a huge thing. And the perpetrators of this are very well funded. They have money because it's very profitable to fake. Because you can say it as a genuine product and get the money for a genuine product when you're actually not putting in a lot. So the resources. So we need to work, move out there, talk to all the different development partners, whoever loves Uganda,
and push it
to them to ensure that they join the forces.
But Kenneth, can somebody say that, there's a common Ugandan talk, government at Uyambe. Are we posturing for government at Uyambe kind of attitude here? For example, you say you are born on a farm. You said that yesterday. We do see some of the practices which border on just negligence.
Yeah.
We have an acronym here for describing the dangers of counterfeits, Dankani. There's negligence in there. For example, if you're familiar with the milk production, meat production, why do we have the transportation of cows into the city where you have cows, the tails are tied up on the truck? Many times, I am sure, the cow reaches here, it's in pain, the tail is broken, and you know that the cows go straight into the slaughterhouse. We no longer have the holding grounds. Those days, 30, 40 years ago, cows come from Barara and then they are held in a holding ground for 2 days or 3 days before they go to the slaughter, because it affects the quality of the meat. So why do we have that situation? They call it a chimansulo, the cows' tails being held up, and yet do we still need government to do that? These are your farmers who maybe are doing some of these things. Why do we still have, I know the Dairy Development Authority banned transportation of milk in plastic jerrycans. We're supposed to have aluminium.
Cans.
But we still see people moving around. Don't you think that in a way, maybe we, the consumers, or we are our own problem?
Yeah.
We have caused this to ourselves. Yes, government has a role, all stakeholders, but we are part of the problem, big one.
Let me tell you one thing about the. First of all, the only person that can stop fakes, I think this yesterday, is the consumer. The consumer has the biggest role to play in here. Let me tell you, for example, there is no reason you say that transport cows in humane conditions.
Yes.
There is no reason why you should bring a cow from Chiruhura with the horns and the tail and the hooves and the skin
To Kampala. To cause garbage here.
Zero reason. They should be
Slaughtered
slaughtered from there.
abattoir.
Yes, at the source. So that the cow does not have to stay in, because 3 days of a cow in an abattoir reduces tremendously the cow weight and everything like that. Because a cow that is used to free grazing and then you put it in that shed, there's nothing you can feed it for it to stay.
It will be tense.
It will be tense. You don't know what hormones it produces that go into the meat that may be dangerous for us. No one knows. So the question is, there is no need for that. If cows are in Kazo, let them be slaughtered in Kazo,
And
meat
you
packed,
carry the meat
bring the meat here
in
and sell it.
refrigerated.
Yes, in trucks. The way there are refrigerated trucks for milk, there should be refrigerated trucks for meat to come from the sources of meat to the market. There's no need for you to bring horns and hooves here. Then whoever wants horns and hooves can go and buy them from there as well, because I know hooves are a delicacy for many people.
Oh.
So, but the consumers ultimately need to say no to fake. If you're going to look for meat at whatever butcher, ask for meat, for example, that is stamped by a certified vet. The stamped may be faked, but at least you have done your part. At least you've shown that guy.
I see
that
some meats in some butchers, it has there is that purple.
Yeah.
That's a stamp.
That's
from
a stamp, meaning that the veterinary person, inspector, has inspected the meat and it's fit for consumption. Now, of course, there are politics in that, but I don't want to go into that. There's no time for that. At least it's a consumer's duty. Duty and obligation to ask for some of those simple things. And it's also a duty of a consumer. Once you buy a product from anywhere, keep the receipt. Why? Because those the receipts help in tracking back in case there is a problem. Fred, do you know that most people in Uganda, maybe even including you, but I don't think you can do that, will enter into a drug shop, buy a drug, and walk away. No receipt.
No receipt.
So if there is a problem, you actually cannot trace it back. So these obligations and duties, the simple things, receipt, stamp, make sure you try as much as possible to go to a reputable company. Those are some of the things that consumers should be looking out for and doing, and making sure that it is very difficult for someone who is selling fake things to thrive, in my view. And I think one of the things that we need to do as a partnership is hammering that information
out there, because the consumer is complaining.
Yeah, out there.
You tell them that they have a right to the genuine and so on, but the brands are not. I'm sure you see ads every day.
Exactly.
Have you seen an ad where the brand says, "Look, this is the genuine. These are the specifications.
No.
This is where you buy."
No, I've not seen it, and that's another another failure, because someone who is advertising your product, you should be able to. Now that's where the role of the companies, the manufacturers, is. As a manufacturer, I don't think Bukora wants his products to be faked. So what are you going to do about it? These are some of the conversations we need to have with them. What are you going to do about it? How can we help you to put out your message? So as you advertise products, tell people that a genuine Bukora Roundup looks like this. If you don't buy anything like this, you're buying a fake. Something like that.
Okay, so one of the areas where the League of the Genuine and SCN is very strong is in legal enforcement measures and prosecution. We would like that we do more with the Federation in ensuring that culprits, all those involved in food fraud, are prosecuted actually. I think we need to have some cases out there to show that it's risky, it's costly, it's painful to be putting dangerous, poisonous food out there and harming people. So we welcome the partnership.
Thank you.
And we are dedicating the month of December to part of January to deal with food fraud, counterfeiting in the food value chain. So we are hoping that some of your members and technical people will be coming to support this program, which is basically to sensitize consumers to be able to do differentiation. In Dankani, differentiation is a big issue.
Yeah.
I am sure your farmers are not able to tell whether this is a genuine Roundup label or it is fake. The containers look the same.
I know.
And sometimes price is also the same. So I think that as a federation, this is a very important step that you have taken. I must confess that I have heard about the federation in the past, but I didn't know how deep the programs that you have are. And so I am thinking that ourselves and the viewers out there will be able to learn more and more about what you're doing, and most importantly, we'll be able to know that the responsibility starts and stops with us as the consumers. So until next week, this has been a special edition, the beginning of our discussion, League of the Genuine, on food. We shall be doing so for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And until then, see you next week.